grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B., and I am a son of an all-powerful and all-loving, perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict in multiple fellowships. I am a member of these fellowships, and I'm living in the miracle of recovery, and I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, please say hi and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M. My book says I'm an intelligent agent spearhead. I believe it. My book says that I'm a child of a loving, all-powerful God. I believe it. And the book says that I'm to make a step 3 decision every day. And I like to take a sincere position to be a member of RICO 12 today. That's what I am. I'm sitting down at the table as a member of this beautiful fellowship. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nikki. All right, RICO 12, we are a family of several recovery resources. We have our weekly speaker meeting, which is the flagship project of this RICO 12 family. We record that live every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Zoom. If you would ever like to join in on that live, send an email to rico12pod@gmail.com. We'll get you on that list, and you can get the invitations to join us there. We also have the Big Book Roundtable that we post every Thursday, and this Noodle It Out with Nikki podcast that we post every Tuesday. And there are other things in the works, and there are other projects that are out there. Our Afro-Euro RICO 12 speaker meeting, as well as others that are just moving along, and we are so grateful for that. On that note, if you are feeling a nudging from your higher power to support the RICO 12 family, please consider doing so. All the links to that are in the show notes. You can go to rico12.com/support and find different ways to support us, whether financially or word of mouth. We're all grateful for that. All right, so this project, the Noodle It Out with Nikki M, is an exercise in a deep dive into finding solutions to questions, issues, and things we encounter in everyday life in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So today, Nikki, I'm going to bring a question that I pulled out of the WhatsApp group, the Noodle It Out with Nikki M WhatsApp group. Somebody posted this in the last few days, but I thought it was very interesting. And I have personal stances on this, but I want to see what the book says about this. All right, and the question is, what does the book say about sponsoring family members or close friends? And what is your experience, strength, and hope on that, Nikki?
Wow, I don't know if the book, there's 165 pages, everybody, 64 pages of instruction. And I don't know if the book says something, and this is on the spot. Like if I could go home, you know how politicians, they get to study their questions beforehand. We don't do that here at the Noodle Chat. Justin throws it out and we try and do our best to answer it on the spot. What came to mind? And I saw that in the chat and I didn't answer it. Other people were answering, but I was so busy I didn't get to it. So this is great that we get to noodle it out here. Our book says this on page 100. Let's go here. Let's go to page 100. And it says, assuming this person is spiritually fit, we can do all sorts of things that alcoholic addicts, family members, people suffering from the disease of alcoholism are not supposed to do. Okay? So if you're spiritually fit, you can do anything on the planet. Let's go deep here. Like if you were spiritually fit, Justin, you can do anything. Because remember, we tapped power. So this is not just some mediocre little, go have a good day. We're talking about power here. We're talking about God, a God of your own understanding. We're talking about the highest frequency love. So if you are tapped into this power, man, you can do anything you want to do. Here it is. I want to go deeper. Our book says very specifically, though, on page, I think it's on page 75, where it says, talk to the right person. Page 74, 75 says, talk to the right person. It's important that they be able to keep a confidence, that they understand and approve what we are driving at. Do I want to hear? Remember, because we have the person that we're sponsoring is asked to go pocket their pride, illuminate every twist of character, every dark cranny. Do you want to hear every dark cranny of your wife, of your children, of your mother, of your cousin that you love and respect so much? Do you want to hear her dark crannies of her life? Are you the right person? Like, you see what I mean? There's a big dance here that you got to do. Like, well, I want to help my mom. I want to help. Well, it does. It says right here, we bring the book and where is it on page 111? It says, when a discussion does arise about alcoholism, about addiction, you might suggest your family member read this book, or at least the chapter on alcoholism. Does that make sense to everybody? So now you're inviting your family members to read this book. Like, I used to have my mom come on the Noodle meeting. I used to have her on. And then one day I asked her to stop because she's just not living this lifestyle, not even really interested in it. So this is really a lifestyle for people who are interested in it. And I had no problem. I tapped power and said, you're living a completely different vibration and lifestyle. This meeting probably isn't for you. You understand, you're more observing it and just, I don't know. It was kind of like watching Desperate Housewives for her. And I said, no, this is not for you. So you've got to really get armed with the facts, says page 18, about this disease, about yourself, and understand, is this the most helpful thing to do? Because Justin, you and I come from a fellowship that's encouraging sponsoring. A lot of fellowships don't encourage this. They're like, read the book, come to meetings, just stay here, and let's just talk about our problems. You and I we follow the book. And that being said, I have a lot of people who need sponsees. Why would I take my family through when my friend Justin B has what I want, has a more objective point of view? Does that make sense? Like, think about it. Like, your daughter's sick right now, and you're going to say you're going to take her through, or do you think I'm going to send her to Nikki, my sister in program, who has what I want, who can be more objective, now, again, you got to get armed with the facts. Do I want to hear my daughter's dark cranny secrets?
Yeah. So Nikki, I'm going to jump in here because I had a real life experience with this just last night, and I'm glad that it's really cool how God does this. Just brings things around. My son called me last night, and I was sitting there with my wife, and I put him on speaker, and I said, "Hey, your mom's right here too. I got you on speaker." And he says, "Hey, Dad, I was hoping to just talk to you." I said, "Okay." So, and it didn't hurt my wife's feelings. She's in a good place. She's healthy with that. And I said, "Okay." So anyways, he shared with me something that was, he didn't recognize it as a resentment, but it was something that was eating him alive and causing a lot of problems in his life. And I took him to the big book. Now, I would never sponsor my son ever, because kind of like what you said, I don't want to know his deepest, darkest crannies. And two, a sponsor needs to call somebody on their crap and become almost an enemy to them. And I don't want to, I want to be able to tell my son truthfully some things. I want to be able to be honest with him, and I want to be able to be direct with him. But a sponsor's got to say, "You're full of crap and get out of here with that garbage," and I don't ever want to hear it again. And I shouldn't, I don't think, do that with my son, with my kids, or with my wife, or with my parents, or whatever else. But anyways, I took him to the big book about the sick man's prayer, talked about resentments and how they're fatal. And we went through that, and I was able to walk him through the big book without being somebody that says, you're so stupid. Why are you holding these resentments over somebody that you have no control over and really have no connection with? I didn't have to do anything like that. What any other feedback on that, Nikki?
Yep. Page 60, everybody. Everybody, page 60. I'll give you a minute to get there. And it says step 12. Well, it says 12. Having had a spiritual awakening. And I have my line out that says yes. So Justin, I know, says yes. Both Justin and I have had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. And then it says we carry this message, which is the 12-step message, to alcoholics or addicts. And most people I know, of course, are all suffering this disease. So we carry this message. That's what you did. You carried the general message. And then it says we practice these principles in all our affairs. And that's what you did. You practiced the principles of getting honest with your son. This is what my disease in my mind looks like. You got humble and you shared with your son, this is what this looks like for me. You did all these things. You showed him the thing, but you didn't take him through the 12 steps because it says we practice these principles in all our affairs. What are our affairs? It says on page 19, our respective home. So you have to practice it in your home, which Justin just did. It says in our occupations. So you're practicing these principles in your workplace, and then with all our affairs, the newcomers and anyone we're out with. Okay, so in that order. I heard very clearly when you were just sharing that, page 29. Each individual, see, this is a life instruction book, everybody. This is a design for living. If you roll your eyes across on page 28, it says a design for living that really works. Full stop. Full stop. Because page 118 says this is a family disease which we could have no power over. We're on page 29 that says each individual, Justin, in his personal story, his experience, strength, and hope, described in his own language, which was the big book, from his own point of view, his particular attitude, his consideration for a particular matter, the way Justin established his relationship with God. So that's what he did with his son. He didn't take his son through the steps. You see, now let me share some experience, strength, and hope. I did a pop-up meeting, you posted it. Thank you, Justin. It was a great meeting. My daughter came on. Same thing. My daughter's 32 years old. I watched her when she moved to America. She got real deep into a food addiction. I couldn't say much. As you said, we don't tell people their addictions, they'll see it. I had to sit and watch this happen. I started sponsoring other women. The other day, she called me, and I'm just sharing this as experience, strength, and hope. She says, Mom, she basically said, I have this food thing. She's lost some weight. She sent me the before and after pictures. She said, why didn't any of my friends put me in a pig pen? And I said, Haley, I tried, but you stopped talking to me. Okay, are we here? Now go deeper. 9 years later, I couldn't help my daughter, but I've invited her to my meetings. I've shared the big book with her. I've actually had some of my sponsees call her in the Al-Anon program so she could witness for them how I've changed so much and what this program can do for an entire family. But I never took her through the steps. And even when Justin, I said, wow, I have a sponsor for you, Haley. She said, Mom, leave me alone. I'm going to do it my way. Because remember, we have no monopoly. Let's go here, everybody. Page 94, I think it is. Please, God. 95. To the person who asked, because let's go back to the question. Can I sponsor my family? Is it helpful? Is it? But go deeper. Page 95 says, with my daughter, she didn't want to do it this way. She has another way of doing it. If she thinks she can do the job, or if your son thinks he can do the job in some other way or prefers some other spiritual approach, encourage them to follow their own conscience, their own awareness, their own awakening. See, Justin and myself believe on God. We merely have an approach that works for us. Honey, if that works for you, do it. Wow, I'm excited. You got a trainer. Your son was armed with the facts. I've taken my son when he was 15 years old, mad at the teacher, through a 4-step. Column 1, teacher's name. Column 2, why are you mad? He's failing you, blah, blah, blah. Column 3, what does it affect? It affects your relationship with your mother. It affects your self-esteem and your security, son. Column 4, where are you at fault, son? That's right, you're irresponsible. Like, I mean, I make it fun for him. Look at you. You had you done your homework, you wouldn't have your mom sitting you down getting weird. And then I took him to column 5. Son, what should you have done instead? How about do your homework? How about show up in school? How about be a responsible citizen? As a 15-year-old, just get to class. And he could see it on paper. With a 15-year-old in high school, black and white, 5 columns in front of him. Did I take him through the steps? No. Did I show him where he was at fault, where he's wrong? Yes. Black and white in paper. We practice these principles in all our affairs. Back to here. Page 95. Justin's son. Son. My daughter. Daughter. We have much in common. You have resentments. I have resentments. You shove shit in your God-shaped hole. So do I, that we probably shouldn't be doing. Let's not tell mom about it or dad. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. We can have fun with this stuff. And it says, but we have a lot in common, honey. So if you want a sponsor, I've got one for you. If you want to, but for me, my experience, Justin, is that's for other people to do. I sponsor a lot of people. I know people who I would love to have my daughter work with them. It's not for me. But this is what you can do, Sponsy. And Justin, I know you do this because your wife is in program. I love your wife. You guys got to come up here. I've never even seen a picture of her. I don't even know her. I love her. Here it is. And you talk to me about what you do with your wife on this. Page 87, if circumstances warrant, we ask our son, our daughter, our wife, our friends, our family, our mothers to join us in a morning. How about any meditation? Hey, mom, I heard about the sound bowl. You want to come with me? Hey, family, there's this meeting and one of my friends is getting a year medallion. Do you want to come and see what it looks like? I've invited people my daughter's come to a meeting with me and sat in a Cocaine Anonymous meeting with me and my friends. And I'm like, everybody look at my baby. You know what I mean? Like, it's a family affair, right? It's here. If we belong to a religious denomination, I asked my son to come to the clothing drive the other day that I put on at my church. He came. We made noodles. He came a little late, so I was like, hello, I needed you to volunteer, not just stand here and look pretty. But anyway, he came. Are you asking your family to join you in this lifestyle? This is a lifestyle. So even if you can't sponsor them, and guess what, Justin? The person who put this in the chat, I know they just finished the steps. They're on fire for God. We want to bring everybody into this way of living. We want everyone, but it says in the book, it says, don't go religious off, don't get crazy, don't do these things, don't go from a spiritual hilltop. And we can just basically, page 25, we can lay out the kit of spiritual tools. This is the room I'm in. This is the book I study. These are the prayers I do. This is the yoga mat I seek God on. This is the church I go to. This is the temple I belong to. Come join me, family. You see, like, I think my experience, strength, and hope, and Justin, give us yours. I think this approach of inviting people in, but not sponsoring them, especially if they're your family. Grow your God squad and let the people you trust and love in the program help guide your family. It'll be a much more objective experience for them. Don't you think?
Absolutely. And on that note that you said, hey, if you belong to a certain faith background, whatever, invite your family to come along. If you have a morning meditation practice or whatever, do it together with your family. And that is something that's really been powerful in our lives, in my family. We try to pray together as a family every day. We try to, read some scripture together as a family every day. We have this is one of my favorite things. We have family dinner. We sit around the table every night as a family and have conversations. We aren't, in fact, so my youngest daughter, and this was like 10 years ago, she put a sign up in the kitchen that's still there that says no electronics, and she spelled it wrong and everything, but it was really funny. So we don't have, if somebody brings their phone into the kitchen, they get to do the dishes. I get out of the dishes if somebody brings their phone into the kitchen, so, or into the dining room. So that is something that we do together to help us be able to communicate. And, this is all a way to bring the family closer to each other, bring the family closer to higher power, and everything like that. Any other thoughts or feedback on that, Nikki?
Well, I mean, there's just so many passages in this book, Justin, as you were speaking. I mean, I just got excited about family dinner. Like, see, it's just this simple. It says simple, but not easy. It's so simple to invite your family and friends into this way of living. I mean, it's all over the book. It's like, it's really an inside job. And it says, let's go here. Let's just go to a tradition. Let's just go to the tradition. I think God just put that on me. Otherwise, I'll just mumble. It's on page 563. If we want to do short form, I think it's here. It's just at the last thing on the short form on 562. It's like ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. It's tradition 11, attraction rather than promotion. It's attraction rather. It's like my daughter wants what I have. My son can see it. I'm like, son, if that's working out for you, let me know. But I'm here experiencing miracles that you can too. Like, or taking them and saying, like you said to your son, it's like resentments. We're here to teach, to show, to talk about this way of life. I mean, the whole book is about love. This whole book is a return to love. And so this is a family affair. So the reality of it is you're already sponsoring your family just by living this program, everybody. Like that's it. That's the download. Thank you, God, for the download. Thank you. There it is. Final thought. Yes. You are sponsoring your family when you live this way of life. You are sponsoring your workplace when you are living this way of life. You are sponsoring your home group, your meetings, your grandma when you go to visit her, when you're living this way of life. So I just invite everybody to put a big book and let it know. Now, if you're an Al-Anon, there's another situation here. Let me just tap on that. Because remember, you've got a raging alcoholic at home. And he can't know you're an Al-Anon. That's why anonymity is so important. When you are on the street and you're an Al-Anon and you see your friend in Al-Anon and she's walking by with her husband who doesn't know she's seeking help, and you say hi, and husband goes, "Who the hell's that?" And he gets drunk at night and beats you down. You understand. That's why anonymity is so important. Miss Al-Anon has to be very careful. She can't just leave a big book on the table. You see, there's a lot of things around this, Justin, that like so many moving parts on that too, where some of this is real private. You can't let your family know about it. Does that make sense too? So the spiritual life is not a theory. Live it.
Yeah, and my takeaway from this, Nikki, is what you just said. If I am practicing these principles in all my affairs, in my family, in my work, let's see, in my home, in my occupation, and in all my affairs, I think is what it says on page 19. If I'm doing that, I'm, while not a quote unquote sponsor, I am guiding and pointing my family, my coworkers, my people that I interact with to a solution that works in rough going. And the concept of anonymity, I think that was so powerful. So be wise. Be wise in this. but practice the principles in all aspects of your life, in all your affairs. And as you do that, miracles will happen. God will do for you and for those around you what you cannot do for yourself or for them in any way, shape, or form. Keep coming back, everybody. This program works if I work it and when I work it. So work it. You are worth it.